Hey guys, welcome to the Main Street Moments and Beyond podcast. This is Kathy.
And Brian.
And we're going to talk about our last visit to Walt Disney World. I actually got to go. I was so excited because the weather's been cooler and we went up for the day. What happened is we went to Stewart to have lunch with my dad and my cousins. And my dad lives 2 hours from Disney. So Brian's like, let's just go to Disney. We're only 2 hours away. Why not? And the weather was amazing. So we went to Hollywood Studios and I got to see Galaxy's Edge. For the first time. And we have a vlog up if you want to see it on our YouTube channel, Main Street Moments and Beyond. You can see that vlog. And I have to say, it was okay, but it was very generic for me. I know this is like not a popular thing to say because everybody goes crazy over Star Wars, The Galaxy's Edge and all that, but I thought it was very generic and kind of nondescript.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything there other than the Millennium Falcon. There wasn't anything there that was like Star Wars to me. There were little bits and pieces here and there, but you really had to look for them. But walking around, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, look at this, look at that, look at that. I don't know. It was just kind of generic for me.
The problem, this was your first time at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
This was probably my 5th, 6th, or 7th time. I've been a bunch of times, including opening day. If you went to Toy Story Land and you took out the rides, just the rides. I'm talking about Slinky Dog, the Saucer. If you took out the 3 rides, you would still know it was Toy Story Land because they have Woody, they have the characters all over the place.
It's Andy's backyard.
Yeah, you would know. Without the rides, it still looks like Toy Story. At Galaxy's Edge, there's very little going on there. And the big mistake, I know no one wants to admit this, but the mistake they made with Galaxy's Edge is they made it in this new place that no one's heard of unless they've read some obscure novel that no one's read. It should have been Mos Eisley Spaceport. And that's the way it is. And I'll tell you another thing. With at least now and for the foreseeable future, Galaxy's Edge, even though Rise of the Resistance is opened, Galaxy's Edge still, in many ways, is a one-ride park because this system of boarding passes they have the boarding passes booked up so early in the morning that it's almost hopeless to get on unless you're there early in the morning.
They changed it a little bit.
Not much.
Now you cannot get on into a boarding group until like the park opens at 7.
Yeah.
But people are still lining up at 4, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And somebody that was just there said it's actually worse.
Yeah.
It's getting more crowded.
Yeah.
But when you walk into Batuu, you can't even see the Rise of the Resistance. There's no big...
it's hidden. It's a hidden. It's like it's a hidden base.
When you go to Star Tours and there's a huge AT-AT outside, that's awesome. Whoa, there's nothing there. You walk by, you blink, you miss it. You don't really see.
They do have the X-wing. They have the A-wing.
But they're really not that noticeable when you're kind of walking through. You kind of have to really. Look.
This is a problem. The hidden Rebel base should not be hidden within the land. You should be able to see it like the added, like you're saying, at Star Tours. Or
I didn't
Woody.
even know where Rise of the Resistance, the ride was when I walked in there.
Well, because it's hidden.
Exactly.
When you walk into Toy Story Land, long before you get there, you see Woody. And
Exactly.
But in Galaxy's Edge, it's just not that way.
I would just design it so differently. Like you said, I would have it on Tatooine. I've said this a million times.
Yeah.
You would get blue milk at Aunt Veru and Uncle Owen's farm.
Yeah.
You would actually go to Luke's house. They'd have a replica of Luke's house, and they'd have a little area where you go and get the milk. How cool would that be? And you can walk through Luke's house, or go to the Dagobah system and walk through Yoda's house. Have a little area that looks like Hoth. I don't know. It doesn't look like Star Wars. It looked like Morocco and Epcot, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, eh. And Rise of the Resistance, we went right by it, and Brian's like, oh, there's Rise of the Resistance. I said, oh, really? Where?
Yeah.
There's no big monument or marker.
Well,
there's nothing when you walk in that, you
it says
see.
Star Wars.
And the Millennium Falcon is so way in the back.
It's the last thing you see.
It's the last thing you see. And I will say, we ate at the food place there, and I had an Andorian chicken wrap. It was absolutely delicious. I couldn't believe how good it was because I don't love Disney food, and it was good. And that was good, but that whole area is like a bazaar in Morocco, in Epcot. That's what it looks like. It's just a big shopping mall.
I was watching on Disney Plus the Imagineering special, the most recent episode, which maybe the last one.
I don't love Galaxy.
And they were talking about Galaxy's Edge and they were talking about the marketplace, and they based it on a market that the Imagineers went to in Turkey.
Well, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, so it could be a new pavilion over at Epcot in the World Showcase.
It could be.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is awesome. We're in Turkey in the World Showcase.
You don't feel like you're in a Star Wars movie. Okay, when you go to Toy Story Land, you feel like you're in the movie. You feel like you're in Andy's backyard. When I go to Batuu, I don't know where the heck I am. I don't feel like I'm in Star Wars.
They made a lot of mistakes. And, and
the Millennium Falcon just doesn't fit.
And, proof that they made a mistake, I'm not going to get into any spoilers or talk about Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, because I know everyone's talking about that. I've seen it. I'm not going to give any spoilers. But I will tell you that the original characters are very well represented throughout the entire movie.
Well, it's about time.
And the reason that is because the original characters were like barely in the previous two. So
Luke was in it the last 5 minutes.
So Disney in Rise of Skywalker made a correction in this final movie. The original characters are throughout the movie. So that's it. So
should have been that way from the beginning.
Well, it should be that way at Galaxy's Edge. And I got to tell you something here. I don't like what they're doing with Docking Bay over at Hollywood Studios. Docking Bay, we went over to the Docking Bay and met Darth Vader. And I'll tell you...
You mean Launch Bay?
Launch Bay. Did I say Docking Bay?
Yeah.
I meant Launch Bay.
No.
Yeah, we were at Launch Bay and to meet Darth Vader, and we met Chewie. And I've got two major complaints about the Launch Bay, okay? Mm-hmm. And the first one is I don't like this photo box they have over there as opposed to a live photographer. I have been...
And they didn't even work.
No, I have met Darth Vader twice, and they don't have a photographer. They have the box, and we have a photo pass because we're annual pass holders, and it comes with the photo pass. I've been there twice. I've gotten half a dozen pictures each time. None of them are good. None of them are usable. I won't put any of them on my social media. In fact, I'm not even downloading them off the app. Same goes for Chewie with the photo box. Yeah. They need to get the live photographers back.
Yeah, I agree.
The second thing is this with Launch Bay. Darth Vader and Chewie, as crazy as it seems, it has kind of like become my favorite character after Luke Skywalker. I don't know, maybe it's because you get to meet him so much, at Hollywood Studios. I don't like that Chewbacca and Darth Vader, and they also got BB-8 over there too, are over at Launch Bay, off in the corner of the park over there. Like they're not good enough to be at Galaxy's Edge. There should be a character meeting for characters. It should be in Galaxy's Edge. It should be Vader. It should, when they do the next two Star Tours, they do that little lightsaber thing with the kids. They have Vader out there with Kylo, with the kids. No one cares. They should have Vader over in Galaxy's Edge for the photo op. They should have Chewie's photo op there. And they got Rey walking around, right? Where's the photo? I mean, I've taken selfies with Rey. Where's the photo op with Rey? And if they can have an actress play Rey, a cast member play Rey, why can't they have a cast member playing Luke, Leia, and Han? They've got cast members that play the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, and that's much newer. So I think it's a big screw up going on over there at Galaxy's Edge. And I will say though, when they say Walt Disney World is the happiest place on earth, that really becomes true for me every time I step on the Millennium Falcon.
Well, I
do love the Millennium Falcon.
I will say the Millennium Falcon is amazing, okay? And it really feels like you're on the ship, and it's really small. Like the sleeping area where Luke slept in the movie, he must have been like crouched because it's not that big for a grown man. The ship is small, and I felt a little claustrophobic in there, and I'm thinking to myself, Han Solo rides around, but I guess that's how it is.
You came here on that?
I mean, Leia's ship was much nicer, of course. Well, right. She's a princess. Yeah. But it's tiny, but it really looks like the real thing, and it's all beat up, and because it's the first order. It's been around. So that was the only good part I liked about it.
Every time I step on the Millennium Falcon in Smuggler's Run, it's just like a life-changing experience. I mean, I'm happy. I love it.
No,
it
really,
so
they did a really good job with that.
And I had an experience for the first time because you went up into the Falcon with me, but you can't ride the ride. You can't do the ride.
Here's how it worked. And if you watch our video, you'll see when we first got into the park, Brian went up to a cast member at Guest Relations, and she had a little iPad thing, and she actually got us a disability pass. And, your disability pass is good for 2 months. Yeah. So we didn't have to get a new one. We still had the one from a month ago when we went to Magic Kingdom. So she said, your disability pass is still good. It's good through January. So she said, I can book you a ride right now. And this was at the front of the park. So she booked us on the Millennium Falcon, and we had like an hour or 2 hour wait. So we kind of hung around Hollywood Boulevard. And then we got there, we checked in, and we went up this back way, which you would think is, you said it would be the Fast Pass line if they had one. And we bypassed the entire line, and we were up at the ship in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And then we went in. Yeah, and got our tickets.
Well, it was interesting because I've been on Smuggler's Run a whole bunch of times, and you have a disability pass. That's what we used. And when you have a disability pass, you enter through the entrance that would be the Fast Pass entrance if they had Fast Passes, which they don't have right now. And I've been wondering, every time I'm in line for Smuggler's Run, and these people are going through that line, I'm like, who are these? All VIP people? Who are all these special people?
Yes, we're VIPs.
And we were those special people.
Yes, we are.
But I had an experience on Smuggler's Run I've never had before, because you can't ride the ride. You went up in the ship with me, and you waited outside the cockpit while I rode.
Right.
And I got very lucky. I was the pilot, and I got to be the pilot on the right side, which is my favorite, because you get to punch it to light speed. And I was in the ride with a family. Okay, a whole family and me, and
was it weird?
The dad was the pilot on the left, and while we're waiting to go on, he's like, "Have you flown this before?" And I said, "Oh yeah, because I have. I've flown it. I flew the last time I was there with our daughter.
Flew with Han Solo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and Han, we
and Chewie.
Yeah, we back at Cloud City. No, but last time I was up there, our daughter and I. We flew it and did very good. We completed the mission. We didn't crash. There were no sparks. So I'm in there with this family, and the dad says, "Have you flown this before?" Like he's testing me. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've flown it before." He's like, "Okay, so have I." And we get in there, and he just can't fly, and he's crashing into everything, and he starts like yelling, but raising his voice, telling me what to do, trying to make his family think I was screwing up and not him.
Like you're the jerk.
Yeah, exactly. He's crashing all over the place. I'm not hitting anything. I'm doing perfect.
Yeah.
And this guy's crashing all over the place. And when we leave, there's sparks everywhere. And, I'll tell you, I've heard some others talk about this. When you ride Smuggler's Run and you're a pilot and you're not with someone it's a little different than when you're with someone because you don't have the same communication. Like when I was with our daughter, we were communicating. Okay, this, you do that, you do that. We were like a team. With this other guy, we weren't a team. We didn't know each other.
You don't communicate, no.
And he was blaming his failures on me.
Right.
Whatever, and I'm sure he'll tell people, "Oh, we would have done so good if that guy, the single rider wasn't there."
He's probably talking about you still.
Exactly. Right now, he's probably doing another podcast on his own talking about it.
I want to say, when I was up in the ship and I was waiting for you, I did a little vlogging, and what I did is I was in my wheelchair, so I wheeled over to where you exit. Okay. And where I was, the way it works is where you came out, that was the only area where people were coming out. They weren't coming out of any other area. So the door opened and a group came out of the cockpit, and I looked inside, and it wasn't you. And I looked inside the cockpit. It was empty.
Yeah.
The door, and the same cast member was standing there. We were in the same spot. The door shut, and 30 seconds later, the door opened again, and your group came out.
Yeah.
So it's like it rotates.
Yeah.
It's like a rotating ride, and it must rotate when you're in the ride. And it just, you keep coming out of the same door, different groups, and the wheel inside just keeps shifting
that's right.
to the right.
In fact, if you watch
or the left, or
if
whatever.
You watch the last episode of the Imagineers on Disney Plus, they show the construction of the ride, and you get to see that. Another thing, they didn't show this on the Imagineering special, but I had seen this prior. There are, the area with the chessboard. There are two of those. There's two of those.
Oh.
So so there's two different Falcons.
So there's probably
another.
So there's
one goes
probably
left, one goes right.
Area that shit
with another. Exactly. That's how they accommodate so many people.
Well, I have to say, the Millennium Falcon was really amazing. The only thing I would say is, they have like a platform area that you can stand on and look at it from a higher level, but it's kind of far away. They needed a platform right next to the ship that you can stand on, because when you're on the ground, all you can really see is the bottom of the ship. You can't really see the top very well. I mean, it's cool.
When you're in the queue, you can.
In the queue, but you only see the back, the engines. I mean, I'd like a really good view of it.
Well, because you do. Where we went was in the entrance we went in for the Fast Pass. When you're out of the general line, you don't see it as well. When you're in the general line, There's windows there the whole time. You get to see it really good. We just didn't go through that section.
Okay, because I'd like an area where I know they have a higher. Maybe I just didn't see it, but like a platform area where you
see
can
it
really
in our line.
kind of see it from above and look down on it. Would be
in the fast, because like I said, we were in the fast pass entrance. You don't get the same view as when you're in the regular entrance. Okay. It's unfortunately when you're in the regular entrance. You're right next to it with huge windows, and you're more even with it. You're a little lower, so you're more even with it. You get a much better view. But I'll tell you, one thing I noticed on my last 2 times at Galaxy's Edge, it seems Disney has made some unofficial changes to me. Now, some of you may not have noticed this. If you have, let us know. When Galaxy's Edge first opened, they do sell some clothing, some Star Wars clothing in there, but you're not supposed to wear it. And this was like a big controversy. What, they're selling Star Wars clothing, cosplay clothing you can't wear? I've noticed on the last 2 occasions that people are dressing more and more in cosplay. And I'm talking about...
I saw an adult woman dressed as Rey, full on costume.
In fact, I saw that woman. There was this one woman you're talking about. I thought she was the cast member, and I almost went up to her, and then I saw she had like sneakers on. I knew it wasn't the cast member.
She was with her husband, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw one guy that looked he had Han Solo's whole uniform on without the blaster.
I mean, how can they really enforce that? I mean, would they really go up to people? And they do sell so many costumes.
At the gate, they would tell they might turn you away. But
maybe they change in the bathroom.
I've noticed that they don't seem to be enforcing that because
they shouldn't.
There are people, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of people coming in full Jedi outfits with their lightsabers coming into the park. So
I think they should let people do it.
It's almost been left up to the guest at Galaxy's Edge. And we're talking about, by the way, Galaxy's Edge in Orlando, not Anaheim, but because we're in Florida. But it looks like they've left it up to the guest to make Galaxy's Edge a Star Wars land.
I guess
because they're the ones wearing all the Star Wars
I saw a few
clothes.
People dressed up in full costume when we were there.
When I was at Galaxy's Edge on opening day, okay, they had more cast member actors. They had one guy who was a First Order officer who was barking orders at everybody and everything. That was really cool. Came into the droid factory and told us it was required law by the First Order to register our droids with the First Order. And I haven't seen that. I'll tell you another thing I've not seen, except on vlogs. I've not seen Kylo come out of his ship that's docked there. So, there's a lot of problems. But you don't like Galaxy's Edge.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just not... I like the Millennium Falcon, and the Endorian wrap was good. Don't get me wrong, the food was good there.
Yeah.
But I just felt it was very generic and nondescript. There wasn't anything like they should have some big, huge. It's like it's a big secret place. Everything's hidden in a secret, and it shouldn't be that way. Everything should be kind of more out in the open and have some big statues. Like the ships are cool, but they're kind of off to the side. They're not that big. I mean, Kylo's ship is right there where you can see it. That's kind of cool. But the X-Wing was a little off. I didn't even get to see the TIE fighter. I don't know where that was. And they're kind of off to the side with trees, and everything's kind of hidden.
And I haven't been on Rise of the Resistance yet just because of this boarding pass system. After the first of the year, I'll go up there and get there at 3 a.m, I guess, to ride it.
Yeah. That ride looks amazing.
Now, one of the great experiences there, I don't think I will probably ever enjoy, and that is, making the lightsaber, because it's $200 a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's too much.
And, that's really unfortunate. I know a lot of you, I've seen the vlogs on YouTube showing that, and it's really an amazing thing. But at $200...
Well, and Emily built the BB-8, and she brought it home, and she was rolling it around, and the second day it totally came apart.
Yeah,
it
looks pretty cool. It's sitting on her desk.
It's cool,
in her room,
but it's not. It's not a toy you can play with.
Yeah,
it's like just like a tchotchke type thing you'd put on your shelf to kind of have.
Well,
but she was playing with it and moving it around, and we have tile floors, and it completely broke in half many times.
The droid factory was a cool experience. We did the one droid. Our daughter built a droid. I was with her.
Maybe the R2 droids are better.
It was a good experience to get to do, but you're only going to do that once because it was $80.
Which I think is reasonable, but $200 is too much.
Well, plus had to buy it ended up costing $100. So that's why I call him BBC Note, because it was $100.
People do it because we went to the Droid Factory, which is very cool. I will say that is a very cool place. It's a little small, though. Everything there's kind of on the small side. Like even the stores, when you're walking through the market, are very shallow. There's not a lot. You can't like walk in. It's almost like a flea market. But the droid factory is very cool. You see all the droid pieces up top. It was packed. I mean, the people are spending the money. And I don't even know where the lightsaber thing was. I mean,
it's hidden. It's hard to find.
Yeah, everything's hidden. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know, but everything's kind of hidden.
It doesn't work.
No.
You know what I think is going to end up... This is what I think will end up happening.
I guess it's
Galaxy's
hidden
Edge.
because Kylo and them walk around.
This is what's going to end up happening. The next phase of Galaxy's Edge is the Star Wars Hotel, which is too expensive for us to ever go to probably.
For anybody, really.
But I think what is going to eventually happen is it's going to... and this hasn't been announced. This is just me speculating. I think Galaxy's Edge is going to be extended over all the way to where Star Tours is.
Should be.
This is... I'm just making... This is all speculation on my part, okay? And that whole area, I think, will become more of the Star Wars that we know, with the characters we know and love, because it's just not working.
It should be based on the original 3 movies. Okay, you made the point. If you went to Universal and they had Diagon Alley, but instead of Diagon Alley, they had some other British street that had nothing to do with the movie, but it's just some nondescript street or place, or the school wasn't Hogwarts, but it was some other British
that you never
private school
that you never heard of.
I mean, it makes no sense to me. Like now,
it's
they
ridiculous.
might put Batuu in The Mandalorian, and you want to talk about Disney Plus real quick. We've been watching Disney Plus a lot, like you guys, and of course, we're watching The Mandalorian, which is amazing. I mean, Baby Yoda, forget about it. He is the cutest thing. I've said it before. I love him. Every time he comes on screen, I just die. I mean, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. He's cuter than the Ewoks, cuter than BB-8, all of them put together. And you guys know it. He is adorable. And he is awesome, and he's super powerful. And, you know, this might be a spoiler unless you've seen it, but I think everybody's seen it already. He can heal people now, and that's something that they never explored with Jedis in the first 6 up until now. They never had a Jedi heal somebody, did they, that I can remember?
No.
And he healed Carl Weathers, which I love seeing Apollo in these shows. But I love Mandalorian, and we've been watching a lot of old movies. And we're going to watch Togo with Willem Dafoe soon. That looks amazing. What are some of the things you have seen on there that you really have enjoyed?
As crazy it is, I, as a kid, never really watched cartoons. I was never into cartoons as a kid. So
Brian was into Star Trek.
In Star Wars. So the only Disney movies I saw for the I saw Bambi. I saw 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon. But for the most part, the only Disney movies I saw were the live action movies.
We saw some when Emily was little.
Not much.
We would rent them when they came out.
Not much. I never really watched cartoons. I never enjoyed cartoons. So now that we have Disney Plus, I'm watching a lot of stuff I've never seen, and we watched Emperor's New Groove the other day. I've never seen Emperor's New Groove.
What'd you think of that?
That was pretty good. And then we saw Mulan. I'd never seen Mulan. Saw Mulan for the first time. There was one that we watched Snow White, which I've never seen Snow White in its entirety.
Great movie.
And it's very good.
You like Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah.
Because the animation's really cool.
Sleeping Beauty, so far, I think, has been my favorite of the Disney cartoons.
Because it's that mid-century modern looking
We watched Coco, which is unbelievable. I
think that's your favorite.
Yeah, I don't think I ever would have watched Coco because the trailer's like,
it is so good.
I don't know. And Coco is probably the best Disney movie I've ever seen, next to Wreck-It Ralph, which I had seen Wreck-It Ralph prior to Disney Plus.
They need to turn the Mexican pavilion ride. I like the Three Caballeros, but they need to turn that into a Coco ride, or some kind of hybrid of the two.
No, I love Disney Plus. The interface, I would like them to update it a little bit. I'd like them to, I don't know, because it doesn't.
Oh, I like the interface.
It doesn't. The interface is good, but what it's missing, the recommendations it gives you, I just don't like the recommendations don't seem as good as when I'm watching Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu. It doesn't give us, the recommendation system isn't that great.
The Imagineering story is great, but they only have 6 episodes.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in that.
That needs to be an ongoing series. And, they have the One Day. I thought that was going to be a whole bunch of series where the life of
maybe
it
is. They've only had 1 episode.
I think they have some shorts, but they need to add more original content.
The Imagineering show on Disney Plus is very good. The most recent one, they showed the construction of
it's a great show.
Disneyland in Shanghai, and then they show Galaxy's Edge, which was pretty amazing. And you get to see how the drop works on Rise of the Resistance.
That needs to be an ongoing show where they show all the cool stuff behind the scenes. Just there's so much content they could put in there.
Well,
you know what show I do like, which I did not think I'd like, is the Jeff Goldblum show. I love
that
that's
show. All right. That's
it's
all right.
really clever.
It's pretty good.
And he's really quirky and kind of silly, and he's really good on that. And I like that show a lot. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, they've got the original Mickey Mouse Club, which we watched the first episode of that, and I'd like them to put on. There was the Mickey Mouse Club was back in the 70s when we were little kids, and it was new episodes back then.
I think in the 90s with Britney Spears.
They brought it back again in
Justin
the 90s.
Timberlake.
Yeah, so I'd like to see if they put those on. But
and they need to bring back the Wonderful World of Disney with Walt Disney from the 60s.
And there's a lot of episodes of that. But on the Imagineering story, they tell a lot, and I was surprised.
It's really good.
They really throw Michael Eisner under the bus. Michael Eisner is interviewed on 2 or 3 episodes a lot, and they're talking to Imagineers about what a bunch of mistakes that Michael Eisner made, and I was very shocked.
Well, maybe he didn't know they were going to go that direction.
I've never seen Disney go negative, and they're talking to these Imagineers, and they brought up something that I know we've talked about on the podcast before. At Hollywood Studios, I love Hollywood Studios. It has a major flaw, other than what we were talking about with Galaxy's Edge, is it doesn't have the spoken wheel format like at Magic Kingdom.
No, you have
and
to
Epcot.
backtrack. You have to backpedal.
Yeah, so you walk all the way down to Aerosmith, and you got to walk all the way back, and it causes a crowd. It's inconvenient. Yeah. It makes the park seem more crowded, and they talked about that, and they were blaming Michael Eisner.
Why can't they just create a pathway behind the park that goes
there's offices and parking lots for
go around it,
back there?
Circumvent it, go around, or a big bridge or something. Well, I guess they can't do that, but they could go around back behind.
I was very surprised. They talked about how Michael Eisner, a lot of the parks, because when Michael Eisner was running Disney, they built these parks around the world, and they were talking about how a lot of these parks that they built around the world are built like Hollywood Studios without the spoken wheel design, and what a problem that was. They had one Imagineer. This blew my mind. You guys got to watch. If you've not watched the Imagineering special,
well, Epcot's not a spoken wheel. But it works. It's circular though.
It is. It's completely circular.
Well,
yeah,
circular.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Or
it
oval,
is.
really.
Yeah. Go and watch it, but watch the Imagineering special in order from episode 1 because they continue
really
one to the next. It's like a serial. You got to watch them in order. But on one of them, I mean, the whole episode was just throwing Michael Eisner under the bus, and he's being interviewed the whole time. And they talked to one Imagineer who went to the week of the opening of the Hollywood Studios in France, and he said, I was on the park, and I thought I was backstage, and they told me, no, you're on stage, and it's like I couldn't believe, and then they were talking about Disney's California Adventure, about how cheap it was, how the perspective was off, how terrible. They had one Imagineer who was, and again, Michael Eisner was on this episode responding to all these things, was talking about how Superstar Limo, that we were building Superstar Limo, we were almost done with it, and Princess Diana's crash happened, and now all of a sudden paparazzi are bad guys, and they had us finish the ride because we put so much money. I couldn't believe it. Michael Eisner at the end does a whole summary. Well, they could say whatever they want, but the company was much larger and very profitable. I've never seen Disney go negative.
Well, they really threw him under the bus. They basically blamed him, but a lot of people do. What happened is, and if you watch, you'll see in the Imagineering story, is he had a partner, and his partner, they were kind of co-CEOs, and he was kind of a silent partner. Like, he wasn't out on TV all the time like Michael Eisner was, and he was the one with all the ideas. And all the ideas when he was alive were good, and then he died, and then Michael Eisner was there alone, and his ideas were crappy, and that was basically the theme of this episode.
Well, one of the YouTubers I watch all the time is Rob Plays, and Rob Plays is great. You guys got to find Rob Plays on YouTube.
He has really good. You met him.
I met him at the opening of Galaxy's Edge.
He's got good videos,
and I took a picture with him. And Rob Plays. He does a lot of great videos that are kind of like history, and he's done a lot of videos about Michael Eisner. And when I was watching the Imagineering story, the particular one I was talking to you about the all the disasters that they were blaming on Michael Eisner, I've seen Rob Plays over the last 2 years do these videos, and it was almost like Disney Plus was stealing Rob Plays from YouTube stuff, because a lot of the things they talked about, almost word for word, I've been watching on Rob Plays vlogs for the last couple of years. Yeah, and
I know
same
Disney
criticisms.
does pay attention to YouTube.
Yeah, so Rob Plays, if you're out there, go watch the Imagineering special.
They're
stealing
I'm sure he's
from
thinking
you.
the same thing. Like, wait a minute. But I love Disney Plus, and
yeah, it's awesome.
We're gonna do, it is Vlogmas, and we're going to do, if you guys haven't listened, we just interviewed Veronica she was on Paging Mr. Morrow with Nate, and now she has her own channel. And we interviewed her the other day, and that was a really great interview. And a lot of people have given us really positive feedback about it, have been messaging us and contacting us. They really love that interview. And we're going to do more interviews. We already have 2 more scheduled. And we just want to interview other vloggers, live streamers, and so if you do that, if you vlog or live stream and you're interested in getting interviewed, we want to, help everybody out. Contact us, let us know. So that was a really good thing we did. It was a lot of fun. She's really a nice lady. She's a lot of fun, really kooky, and she's a lot of fun. So make sure you check out her channel, One Man's Dream. It's one word. And we wanted to do, Emily gave me this idea for Vlogmas to do a vlog of our watch lists.
Oh, yeah.
On Disney Plus. So we're going to try to do our individual watch lists and make videos of what we have on our watch list, so you guys can see what we have in the queue to watch on Disney Plus. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for listening. We really, really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please like this video if you like it. And we will be uploading more videos very soon. We'll see you guys at the parks.